What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets. Hope everybody's had an excellent day. It has no doubt been a long one, a frustrating one, as you try to digest the team losing their fourth game in a row and the season spiraling out of control before Halloween. Thank you to everybody who's been joining us on the streams and watching the videos. We definitely appreciate it. So you look at the team now and you're trying to find a glimmer of hope, something to buy into, to maybe find a way where this team can just salvage this season and make any kind of run. Like, what is there to believe in with this team? And there's not a lot, man, because this team looks like they're unprepared. They're playing with no heart. They're coming off soft. It's like a bunch of individuals collecting checks, justifying losses, and the same old thing week in and week out. And you just don't know what to do. Like, as fans, we deserve better, man. Like, the Jet fans are so loyal and so passionate for so long, and have been getting no return on their investment for over a decade. And it's like, you see this and you're like, at what point you just become numb to it and you just stop caring. And the team deserves it. I mean, you see fans traveling to Pittsburgh, London, all over the place, going to MetLife, the dump that is, spending all their money, and this is what you get, right? So what do you buy into with the Jets? Where do you start? What's the one thing you're proud of? It's not the owner. The owner just literally said, a week ago, thinking is overrated, as he's being brash and arrogant with a team that's absolutely accomplished nothing over the last 13 years, no playoffs. He walks around wearing this friggin' chain, which makes him look like an absolute jackass. Like, who looks at this guy, a billionaire, walking around with this chain? Like, does anybody think he's cool? The players, like, what is he doing with that? A guy that's so worried about just marketing and the perception, the media perception, the fan perception, and meanwhile he is chasing every friggin' dollar possible. Which example, a couple years ago, the Jets had a little 3-game winning streak. Boom. Mid-season, ticket price increase. A little bit of success. He asked for money early from season ticket holders. The guy is always chasing money and chasing headlines. And he created a complacent culture, which is now what we are today. It's to the point now that no prominent head coach is going to want to come here. No prominent person in the NFL is going to want to come to this dysfunctional franchise with a meddling owner and a losing history. They're not. That's just a fact. It's an absolute mess. So you're like, all right, well, the owner's a mess. Maybe the guys underneath him can figure things out. Well, Joe Douglas on a last year's contract won't be back next year. Joe Douglas inherited the barren roster, had plenty of time to fix it, and what has he done? The offensive line, which is supposed to be his bread and butter, he was supposed to revamp it and make it stout and make it physical. He's completely blown the left tackle position, year in, year out. There's more questions than answers. He put more Band-Aids on it this year. They're not working out. And for some, with an innate ability to actually make the defensive line, which is the strength of the team, actually worse, which is remarkable. So Joe Douglas, I mean, you want to give him credit. Woody Johnson said that this is the most talented team they've had in the last 25 years. After watching what you've seen the last few weeks, that's definitely not the case. The 98 team was better. Some of Rex's team is better because it's not the individual parts. It's the sum of all the parts. And they're just not all blending together. So you want to give him credit for bringing Aaron Rodgers in here? Great. It was desperate times, desperate measures where nobody else really wanted him. And then you literally sold your soul, giving him everything you possibly wanted to try to win games here. So then you go to head coach. I'll start with Saleh, a guy that was clearly in over his head. He assembled a very, inexperienced staff. I know he had the unfortunate passing of Greg Knapp, but Saleh could have been fired a couple of years ago. He also created he also added to the culture of no accountability. He told us he's not there to motivate players. And that's like, so you have a coach that thinking is over, an owner thinking is overrated. You had a coach that said, he's not here to motivate players. And then you had the general manager saying the process is too good to fail. And meanwhile, all they've done is fail. But Saleh, he had all kinds of leadership issues and accountability issues. He had the locker room divide with Mike White and Zach Wilson. You had quitting on Zach Wilson a couple times. And, he became like a used car salesman with his slogans. You get rid of him. Ulbrich is here now. And now it's just like, at some point, I mean, you would think Ulbrich would give up his play calling responsibilities on defense because he's in over his head as a head coach. But this is good. He's talking tough. He's not bringing anything to the table. And then he goes to the players. And the Jet fan has supported these players and hyped them up and did so much and rallied around them endlessly, and they're not giving you nothing back. And it's so disappointing. Starting with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers came in here, he acted like the savior, like this big prominent leader, all about the team, all with the mindset, do this, fix this. And when the going got tough, you know what he did? He got going to pointing fingers at everybody else. And his leadership is so, you have to question every level of it. where he literally said, you know what? I think the team was flat before the game and at halftime. Well, what did you do to change it? Like, you've seen when adversity strikes during the game, his body language is horrific. And all these young guys that look up to him, like, listen, if he's down, I'm down. Like, there is no rallying cry there. C.J. Mosley, we all love him, the heartbeat of this team. He's been hurt. How is he helping these guys rally him? Like, you don't see that. But then you have the guys like Garrett Wilson, who look just like he's just been beaten down by the Jets culture, and he's regressing. Sauce Gardner, a guy, all-pro talent, all this, he's regressing. Breece Hall contributing a little bit, but it's never about the team. It's always about their individuals and all their hype and everything like that. I think losing Jermaine Johnson was enormous. He brought a tremendous amount of passion to the field. But overall, like, you look at the teams that have had success within this year in New York. You look at the Mets. They were such a lovable team where they were just feisty. They're scrappy. They found ways to win games. They're overcoming adversity. They just find ways to win. Look at the New York Knicks and how exciting they galvanize the city with just their play, their hard work, their passion, their energy. The Yankees, I know high payroll, but guess what? Jets had a high rate payroll too. But the big time players are making big time plays and maximizing their opportunity. What are the Jet players doing? Absolutely nothing. They're just coasting through it. Oh, we lost again, maybe next week. There is no sense of urgency. There's no sense of pride. It's sad when Rex Ryan and Damian Woody show more pride and passion about their former team than the current regime does. That's pathetic, man. Like, what? This is just, how did we get here? And then you look at for the future, there is nothing to, like, as a Jet fan, this was your all-in year. And the fact that we're having this conversation before November 1st is disgusting, because we know what the future holds. Woody Johnson's got to fire everybody. A lot of these guys aren't going to be back. So you got to find a new general manager, a new head coach, a new quarterback, and then you got to, and you're not going to have the pick of the litter. Mike Vrabel's not coming here. Ben Johnson's not coming here. So you have to get another first-time coordinator or some retread head coach who's desperate for a job, and then try to find answers again. And then, you know what that means? Another 2 to 3 year rebuild, more excuses, more losing, and no playoffs. It's like the hamster wheel will never stop turning, ever. And a lot of people in the organization seem okay with it because you know what? They're trying to make money. Well, you know what? It's tough, man. Like, I like to go to a lot of games and travel for this team. You just cannot justify spending it. And if you're a season ticket holder, I don't know how you keep going back year after year when this team just keeps spitting in our face. I don't know how you do it. And I don't know, like, there's nothing the Jets can do now to bring me back, minus winning 4 games in a row. Because what they're going to do is they'll beat the Patriots, a bad team, and they're going to celebrate like it was a Super Bowl. And their social media posts to be back and the hype videos and all this shit. That doesn't matter. At some point, you need to realize it's not about your social media content or your hype videos. You actually have to win games. You have to be relevant. You got to matter at some point. So this is rough, man. This is probably the most disgusted I've been in a long time, where there's literally nothing you can be proud of with this team. Nothing. There's not one player that's like just exceeding all expectations. Like, wow, this is what, finally have our guy. It ain't Aaron Rodgers. That's for damn sure. So now what? What do we do?